Chapter 1: The Echoes of the Past. In a quaint town nestled between rolling hills and lush forests lived a woman named Lila. The town was a picturesque blend of cobblestone streets, charming cottages with flower-filled window boxes, and tall trees that whispered secrets to the wind. The seasons painted the landscape in vibrant colors, transforming it into a living canvas. Each morning, the sun would rise over the hills, casting a golden hue over the town, inviting its residents to embrace the day. Among them was Lila, a talented violinist known for her enchanting performances that captivated all who listened. Lila's music was often described as a magic spell that wrapped around the hearts of her audience, drawing them into a world where emotions flowed freely. Each note she played seemed to carry the essence of her soul, a reflection of her joy, her love, and, at times, her profound sorrow. Yet, beneath her graceful exterior lay a heart heavy with grief. Lila had lost her younger brother, Nico, to a tragic accident that had shattered her world. The bond they shared was unbreakable, forged in childhood adventures, laughter, and dreams for the future. Nico was not just her brother, he was her confidant, her protector, and her muse. His loss left an irreplaceable void in her life. Before that fateful day, music had been Lila's sanctuary, a place where she could escape the worries of the world. Together, she and Nico would spend countless afternoons in the park, surrounded by the sounds of nature, where Lila would practice her violin while Nico played nearby, creating imaginary worlds filled with heroes and adventures. Their laughter echoed through the trees, intertwining with the melodies that danced in the air. But now, the music that once flowed freely from her soul had turned into a haunting echo of grief. Each time she lifted her bow, she could feel Nico's absence, a bittersweet reminder of what was lost. Every day, Lila visited the park where she and Nico used to play, sitting on their favorite bench beneath a large oak tree that stood like a sentinel over their memories. The leaves rustled gently in the breeze, as if whispering stories of their laughter and joy. With her violin cradled lovingly in her arms, she would play soft melodies that danced with the wind. Each note was a tribute to her brother, a way to keep his spirit alive in her heart. She poured her emotions into the music, hoping that somehow, it would reach him, wherever he was. But as the days turned into weeks, the music felt incomplete, shadowed by the weight of loss. Each note was tinged with sadness, a reminder of the emptiness that had settled within her. Lila often felt trapped in her sorrow, unable to find solace in the world around her. The vibrant colors of autumn seemed muted, the laughter of children echoed painfully, and the beauty of the park, once a source of inspiration, felt like a bittersweet reminder of her solitude. One particularly crisp autumn afternoon, with the sun casting a warm golden glow over the landscape, Lila sat on the bench, her heart heavy. The air was filled with the scent of fallen leaves, and the sky was a canvas painted in shades of orange and pink. She began to play a mournful tune, pouring her heartache into each note. As the music floated through the air, it seemed to resonate with the very essence of the season, beautiful yet melancholic, a poignant reminder of change and loss. Suddenly, Lila noticed a group of children gathered nearby, their laughter ringing like bells, brightening the atmosphere around her. They were playing a game of tag, their joy infectious as they dashed around the park, their energy boundless. Lila paused mid-song, captivated by their carefree spirits. It was a stark contrast to the weight that hung over her heart, but in that moment, she felt a flicker of warmth. The sound of their laughter washed over her like a gentle tide, momentarily pushing away the shadows that lingered. As she watched, an idea sparked in her mind. Perhaps she could play something different, something light and cheerful. Lila took a deep breath, shaking off the heaviness, and began to play a lively melody. The notes cascaded from her violin like sunlight filtering through the trees. The children paused, turning their heads toward her in curiosity. As the music enveloped the park, the children began to dance, their movements joyous and uninhibited, their laughter merging with her music. Among them was a boy named Max, who had recently lost his father. He stood slightly apart from the others, his wide, tear-filled eyes fixed on Lila. Though he wore a smile, there was an unmistakable sadness that lingered in his gaze, a reflection of his own grief. Max felt a connection to Lila's sorrow, recognizing the shared weight of loss. He too had experienced the emptiness that came with losing a loved one, and in that moment, the music reached out to him, offering solace and understanding. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a warm glow across the park, Lila and Max shared a moment of unspoken understanding, a silent promise that healing was possible, even amidst pain. Lila felt a stirring within her, a sense of hope that had been dormant for too long. In that brief encounter, the bond of shared grief began to weave a new thread of connection between them, one that would ultimately lead them both toward healing. That day marked the beginning of a new chapter in Lila's life, one filled with the potential for healing through connection and music. The echoes of the past would always be a part of her, but as she continued to play and share her art, she realized that perhaps, just perhaps, joy could coexist with sorrow. The park, once a place of solitude, began to transform into a sanctuary of hope, a space where the laughter of children and the music of her violin could intertwine, creating a new melody of life, love, and healing. Chapter 2: The Healing Harmony. As the days turned into weeks, the rhythm of life in the quaint town began to shift. Lila found herself returning to the park more often, drawn by an invisible thread that connected her to the vibrant energy of the children and the enchanting sounds of nature. The once muted colors of her world began to brighten, and the laughter of the children became a sweet melody that filled her heart. Each time she played her violin, the music soared into the sky, intertwining with the giggles and shouts of the children at play, creating an atmosphere thick with joy and warmth. With every visit, Lila experimented with her music, blending her sorrow with the happiness that surrounded her. The notes she played began to dance, weaving together the complexities of her emotions into a beautiful tapestry of sound. She found herself creating melodies that captured the essence of both loss and love, mourning and joy, crafting an auditory reflection of her journey. The music transformed into something new, each note a step toward healing, a bridge that connected her past with her present. One sunny afternoon, as Lila played a lively tune that echoed through the park, she noticed Max sitting on the grass, captivated by her performance. His eyes sparkled with wonder, and for a moment, the sadness that often clouded his expression seemed to lift. After the last note faded, Max approached Lila, his heart pounding with excitement and trepidation. With a shy smile, he hesitantly asked, "Could I join you in playing music?" Lila was taken aback by the idea. Her instinct was to keep her music close, to protect it as she had protected her heart. But there was something in Max's eyes, a spark of hope that reminded her of Nico, his brotherly essence shining through. It was a reflection of the bond they had shared before loss had dulled her spirit. In that moment, Lila realized that perhaps sharing her music could also be a way to honor Nico's memory. After a brief moment of hesitation, she nodded, a smile breaking through the walls she had built around herself. Together, they began to create melodies that intertwined their grief and joy. Lila taught Max how to hold the bow, how to position his fingers on the strings, and how to let his emotions flow through the instrument. Max, in turn, shared stories of his father's love for music, tales of the songs they used to sing together, the times they spent dancing around their living room, and the joy his father had instilled in him. The two of them found common ground in their shared experiences, the pain of loss transforming into a shared language of healing. As the days passed, their collaboration blossomed. They would meet in the park every afternoon, the sun casting long shadows as they practiced together. Each session filled the air with music that resonated with their souls, melodies that spoke of both heartache and hope. Lila felt the weight of her sorrow lifting, replaced by a growing sense of purpose. The act of creating music together became a balm for their wounds, a way to honor the memories of those they had lost while embracing the beauty of life. With each note they played, the melodies grew richer, more complex, and deeper. Lila found herself experimenting with harmonies, layering Max's simple melodies with her more intricate violin arrangements. Their music began to tell a story of loss, but also one of resilience and healing. In those moments, surrounded by the laughter of children and the gentle rustle of leaves, they found a sense of freedom they had both longed for. The park transformed into their sanctuary, a sacred space where they could explore their emotions and let their music breathe life into their shared grief. One day, as they sat on the bench, Lila looked at Max and said, "We should share this with others. There are so many people who could use music like this, music that brings comfort, that connects us." Inspired by their progress and the joy their collaboration had brought them, Lila decided to organize a community concert in the park, inviting everyone to come and share their stories through music. She envisioned a gathering where people could connect, heal, and find solace in each other's presence. With Max by her side, they set out to spread the word. They printed colorful flyers adorned with musical notes and bright colors, announcing the concert and encouraging everyone to participate. They visited local shops, schools, and community centers, sharing their vision and inviting others to join them. The town buzzed with excitement as word spread. People began to express their interest, offering to contribute their talents, singers, musicians, poets, and storytellers all eager to share their voices and experiences. As the date of the concert drew closer, Lila and Max worked tirelessly to prepare. They chose songs that resonated with their own journeys, melodies that spoke of love, loss, and the beauty of healing. They practiced diligently, their connection growing stronger with each note. The park began to take on a new energy, with families and friends gathering to share their stories and support one another. On the day of the concert, the park was transformed into a vibrant celebration of life and love. Colorful banners fluttered in the gentle breeze, and fairy lights hung from the branches of the oak tree, casting a warm glow over the gathering. Lila stood at the edge of the stage, her heart racing with anticipation. As the sun began to set, casting a golden hue over the park, the crowd grew silent, all eyes on her and Max. With her violin in hand, Lila took a deep breath, feeling the weight of her emotions swell within her. She looked out at the sea of faces, each one carrying their own stories of love and loss, and felt a sense of unity wash over her. As she began to play, the music flowed from her heart, intertwining with the stories and emotions of those gathered. Each note resonated with the collective experience of the crowd, a beautiful tapestry of shared grief and healing. Max joined her, his voice soaring as he sang a heartfelt melody that spoke of hope and resilience. The audience was captivated, drawn into the world they had created through their music. The energy in the park shifted, and laughter began to blend with tears, as the power of their shared experiences unfolded in front of them. As the concert continued, Lila watched as others stepped forward to share their stories, their voices intertwining with the music. The air filled with a symphony of emotions, joy, sorrow, love, and healing. In that moment, Lila realized that the healing harmony they had created was not just for them, it was a gift for everyone present, a reminder that they were not alone in their struggles. When the final note faded, the crowd erupted in applause, their cheers ringing through the park like a chorus of hope. Lila felt an overwhelming sense of fulfillment and joy, knowing that they had created something beautiful together. The concert had not only brought her closer to Max, but had also woven a tapestry of connection within the community, where shared experiences and emotions were celebrated and embraced. As the night deepened, the glow of the fairy lights illuminated the faces of those who had gathered, each one filled with a renewed sense of hope and healing. Lila looked at Max, and they exchanged a knowing smile. This was only the beginning of their journey. Together, they had discovered the power of music to heal, to connect, and to transform pain into a celebration of life. In that moment, surrounded by the love and support of their community, Lila knew that her heart would forever carry the echoes of her past, but it would also embrace the harmony of healing that had emerged from her collaboration with Maximum. The music they created together had become a bridge, uniting their grief and joy, a beautiful reminder that even in the depths of sorrow, hope and healing could be found. Chapter 3: A Night of Transformation. The night of the concert arrived, and the air was thick with anticipation. The park, once a quiet place of reflection for Lila, was now transformed into a vibrant sanctuary of light and sound. Twinkling fairy lights hung from the branches of the towering oak trees, casting a soft glow over the crowd that had gathered. People of all ages filled the park, some sitting on picnic blankets with their loved ones, others standing with expectant faces, all united by a shared curiosity and excitement. The event had drawn not only friends and family but also strangers who had heard about the concert and felt compelled to attend. Backstage, Lila stood in the shadows, her heart racing. Her hands, usually so steady when holding her violin, trembled slightly as she clutched the instrument close to her chest. The weight of the night pressed heavily on her shoulders. This concert was more than a performance, it was a culmination of her journey through grief, a testament to the power of music to heal and transform. She felt the gaze of the crowd even though she couldn't yet see them, and for a brief moment, doubt began to creep in. Would her music truly resonate with them? Would they feel the depth of her sorrow and the lightness of her healing? As the minutes ticked by, she looked over at Max, who was standing beside her, adjusting his bow tie with a mixture of nervousness and excitement. His wide-eyed expression mirrored her own emotions, but there was something else there too, an unshakable determination. Max caught her eye and smiled, his gaze filled with encouragement and warmth. That smile grounded her, reminding her of why they were doing this. They were not alone in their grief, they had each other, and now, they had this entire community. Together, they had turned their sorrow into something beautiful, something worth sharing. Taking a deep breath, Lila nodded at Max, and the two of them stepped onto the stage. The crowd fell into a hushed silence as they appeared, all eyes on the pair standing under the soft glow of the lights. For a brief moment, Lila scanned the faces in the audience, and she saw more than just expectant strangers. She saw friends, neighbors, and even people she had never spoken to but whose presence in the town she had always felt. In that instant, she realized that this night was not just for her or for Max, it was for everyone who had ever known the sting of loss, the ache of grief, and the hope of healing. The stage itself was simple, a wooden platform with a few microphones and music stands, but the energy surrounding it was anything but. It felt sacred, almost as if the very air was charged with emotion. Lila took another deep breath and raised her violin to her shoulder. The bow hovered over the strings for a split second, and then, with a gentle stroke, the first notes filled the air. Max joined her on the piano, his fingers gliding effortlessly over the keys, adding depth and richness to the music. Together, they played a melody that was both haunting and beautiful, a song that told the story of their shared journey. With each note, Lila poured her heart into the performance, channeling all the pain, love, and healing she had experienced over the past months. The music weaved through the night air like a thread, binding the hearts of everyone present. It was not just sound, it was emotion made tangible, a language that spoke directly to the soul. As they played, Lila scanned the crowd and saw the reactions unfolding before her. Some people had tears streaming down their faces, their hands clutched to their chests as they allowed the music to wash over them. Others smiled softly, eyes closed, as if the melodies were awakening long-buried memories. She could see people reaching out to hold the hands of their loved ones, finding comfort in the presence of others who understood their pain. In the front row, an elderly couple held each other close, their wrinkled hands intertwined as they swayed gently to the rhythm of the music. The power of the performance was undeniable. Lila could feel it in the air, a palpable connection between the music, the audience, and the memories of those they had lost. The grief that had once weighed so heavily on her heart seemed to dissipate, carried away on the wings of the music. She realized that this night was not just about healing for her, it was about creating a space where everyone could come together to remember, to grieve, and to celebrate the lives of those they had loved and lost. Max, too, was fully immersed in the performance. His fingers moved deftly across the piano, but his heart was in every note he played. There was something cathartic about sharing this moment with Lila, someone who understood his pain in a way that no one else could. As they played, Max found himself thinking of his father, not with the sharp ache of loss, but with a deep sense of gratitude for the memories they had shared. It was as if the music had transformed his grief into something more bearable, something he could carry with him, not as a burden but as a reminder of the love that would always be a part of him. The concert continued, with Lila and Max moving through a series of pieces that ranged from soft, reflective melodies to joyous, uplifting tunes. The ebb and flow of the music mirrored the journey of grief itself, moments of deep sorrow followed by bursts of hope and renewal. Each song was a chapter in their story, and with every new melody, the audience was drawn deeper into the emotional landscape they had created. At one point during the performance, Lila played a solo piece, a melody she had written for Nico. The notes were delicate and tender, full of love and longing. As she played, she felt tears welling up in her eyes, but they were not tears of sadness. They were tears of release, of acceptance, of understanding that Nico would always be with her, not in the physical sense but in the music, in the memories, and in the love that had shaped her. When the final note of the solo drifted into the night, there was a moment of silence in the crowd, as if everyone was holding their breath, and then, slowly, the applause began, soft at first, but building into a wave of appreciation and gratitude. As the final piece of the concert came to an end, the crowd erupted into thunderous applause. The sound of clapping hands, mixed with cheers and whistles, filled the night air, a testament to the emotional power of the evening. Lila and Max stood on the stage, their hearts full, their faces flushed with the warmth of the crowd's appreciation. Lila took a step forward, her violin still in hand, and looked out at the sea of faces before her. Tears shimmered in her eyes, not from sadness but from the overwhelming realization that something profound had occurred that night. The music had connected them all in ways she could never have imagined. It had brought people together, not just in their grief, but in their joy, their love, and their shared humanity. As the applause continued, Lila glanced at Max, who was beaming with pride and gratitude. They had done something extraordinary together, something that went beyond a simple performance. They had created a space for healing, for connection, for transformation. In that moment, Lila knew that this concert was not the end of their journey, it was only the beginning. The night had been a transformative experience, not just for Lila and Max, but for everyone who had gathered in the park. It was a reminder that grief and joy could coexist, that healing was a process, and that through love, music, and community, anything was possible. Epilogue: The Legacy of Love. In the months that followed that unforgettable night in the park, Lila's life took on new meaning. The concert, which had begun as a deeply personal act of healing for her and Max, blossomed into an annual event that touched the hearts of countless others. It became more than a performance, it became a celebration of love, loss, and the enduring power of community. The park, once a quiet retreat where Lila had sought solitude in her grief, transformed into a sanctuary for the entire town, a place where memories were honored and hearts were healed. Lila and Max continued to play music together, their bond growing deeper with each passing day. What had begun as an unexpected partnership between a grieving woman and a young boy had flourished into something much more profound. Max, who had once been shy and uncertain, now played the piano with a confidence and passion that mirrored Lila's own. Together, their music had become a symbol of hope, a way to give voice to the unspeakable emotions that lingered in the hearts of those who came to listen. As the first anniversary of the concert approached, the town was abuzz with excitement. Word of the event had spread, and people from nearby towns began to attend. The one small gathering in the park now drew hundreds, each person bringing their own stories of love and loss. It wasn't just about Lila and Max anymore, it was about everyone who had ever experienced the pain of losing someone they loved and the triumph of finding joy again. The park itself had become a living tribute. Families planted trees in memory of their lost loved ones, and over time, a garden of remembrance grew. Beneath the oak trees where Lila and Nico once played, a pathway of stones was laid, each stone inscribed with the name of someone who had passed. People would walk the path, pausing to reflect, to cry, and to remember. It was a place of quiet reflection, but also of celebration, of life lived and love that continued to endure. Each year, the concert brought new faces, but the spirit remained the same. Lila's music, infused with both sorrow and joy, became the emotional heartbeat of the event. She and Max crafted new melodies, songs that told stories of healing and hope, drawing from their own experiences, but also from the stories shared by the people around them. The music became a collective voice, a harmony of grief, love, and resilience. In time, Lila realized that her grief, while still present, no longer defined her. It had softened into something more gentle, more bearable. She carried Nico's memory with her not as a burden, but as a gift. Every time she played her violin, she felt his spirit beside her, guiding her bow, filling the air with his laughter, his joy. Music had become her way of keeping him alive, not in the shadow of loss, but in the light of love. The legacy of the concert extended far beyond the music. It became a catalyst for connection, inspiring the community to support one another in ways they never had before. People who had once been strangers now gathered in the park regularly, sharing their stories, their laughter, and their tears. Grief, which had once felt so isolating for many, was now a shared experience, something that bound them together rather than set them apart. The park became a haven where people could go not just to mourn, but to find solace in the company of others who understood their pain. Max, too, found his place in this new world of connection and healing. The loss of his father still stung, but he no longer felt alone in his grief. The community embraced him, and the music he played with Lila gave him a sense of purpose. He discovered that through music, he could honor his father's memory while also helping others heal. His piano playing, once hesitant, now rang with confidence and emotion, and he became a vital part of the concert soul. As the years passed, Lila found herself reflecting more and more on the profound journey she had undertaken. From the depths of grief to the heights of healing, her path had been one of transformation. She had learned that grief never truly goes away, it becomes a part of who you are, shaping you in ways you could never anticipate. But she also learned that love is stronger than grief, and that through love, even the deepest wounds can heal. One evening, after a particularly moving performance, Lila stood in the park as the sun began to set, casting a golden glow over the hills. She watched as people lingered, some sitting in quiet reflection, others talking softly, their faces lit with a mix of emotions. Lila felt a deep sense of peace wash over her. She had come so far from the woman who once sat alone on this very bench, lost in her sorrow. Now, she was part of something much bigger, a community bound by love, by loss, and by the music that connected them all. She thought of Nico, and a smile tugged at her lips. His memory was not confined to the past, it lived on in every note she played, in every tear shed, in every smile shared during the concert. Nico's love radiated through her violin, a constant reminder that while life may be fleeting, love is eternal. It exists in the music, in the wind, in the hearts of those who continue to love even after loss. Lila's story became a beacon of hope, not just for her, but for all who had the privilege of hearing it. People from far and wide came to the park to witness the concert, to walk the pathway of remembrance, and to find their own peace in the legacy of love that Lila and Max had created. It was a story of transformation, of healing, and of the undeniable power of love to conquer even the deepest sorrows. Years later, when people spoke of Lila and her music, they didn't speak of tragedy or loss. They spoke of a love so profound that it transcended grief, a love that turned pain into beauty, a love that united an entire community in a shared symphony of healing. Lila's story was no longer just hers, it belonged to everyone who had ever loved and lost, and it served as a reminder that even in the darkest moments, love could shine through, bringing light, healing, and a symphony of joy to the hearts of many. And so, the concert lived on year after year, a legacy of love that would never fade, a testament to the enduring power of music and community to heal even the deepest wounds.